Ambazonia has risen, to fall no more. Ambazonia rise.
Dear Ambazonians on the home front and diaspora.
Dear Ambazonia freedom fighters in the home front and in the diaspora.
The Ethics Commission of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia is coming out to alert you that it is becoming more and more evident that the former British Southern Cameroons, aka Ambazonians, will soon emerge as the newest nation in the world.
We are calling on all of us to start preparing to receive Ambazonia as parents prepare to receive their firstborn child. Malcolm X said, tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. We are already very educated, talented, and very rich in natural resources. Do all this guarantee a safe and prosperous Ambazonia? The answer is an emphatic no. Theodore Roosevelt said, to educate a person in the mind but not in morals is to educate a menace in society.
Ambazonians, it is time to start planning to restore our cultural and social values that characterize us as a people of good repute. Before our Republic to Cameroon invasion, we were respectful of each other, of the law, and of our culture. We earned our living through honest hard work, making clean money for ourselves.
Our values helped us to maximize the benefits of our natural resources as well as our human resources. Southern Cameroons were serene and clean, simply beautiful in spirit and in the physical. We all long for such a place to call home, and we can make it happen by God's grace.
Our local government areas and counties, are you prepared? Do you have an ethics commission in your local government areas, counties to serve as a moral compass for you? Do you have a copy of the Ambazonia Ethics Code and the Constitution?
All arms of government, do you have an ethics agency? Departments of DSS, HSS, Communications and IT, Education, DHACM, DFA and DEINR. Do you have ethics agency to serve as a moral compass for your departments?
Ambazonians, you need to know your rights by reading the Ethics Code and the Constitution.
Shame unethical behavior and reward good behavior in your communities. Hold leaders accountable. Be the watchdog of your communities and governments. See something, say something.
The church, you are the main research center of moral principles with the responsibility of moralizing the society. How effective are you outside the church building?
Maya Angelou said, when you know better, then you do better. Ambazonians, watch Ethics for an emerging Ambazonia every Friday at 10 p.m. Amba time.
Exclusively on ABC Amba TV. Stay tuned.
We don't hear you, Pastor. Good evening, fellow Ambazonians. Pastor Komando, I can't hear you. No. Yeah, hello. Good evening, fellow Ambazonians. Welcome to this show, Ethics for an Emerging Nation, where today we present the Department of Foreign Affairs. Our host, I'm Tom Dola, the Vice Chair of Ethics Commission. Pastor Komando, our able host, is having some technical problems, will be joining us in a moment. And we are expecting here also none other than the powerful Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs, Dr. Kizito Elat, will be joining us also to talk about what is going on in this very, very important department where we present ourselves, we present Amazonia to the world and interact with the world and push. They've been pushing for a long time, for years now, for recognition of our independence of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, formerly known as Southern Cameroons. So we are very excited to hear very soon from Dr. Elat about what the Department of Foreign Affairs has been up to and how they conduct their business. And of course, we are here in the ethics department, how ethical they conduct their affairs and how they enforce ethics in their department. So we welcome you all on board this show. Again, my name is Tom Dola. I'm from Babisi LGA from Gokutunja County. Just as an aside, Gokutunja, my county, is drafting tomorrow, Saturday, 27th of August. So you are all invited to come and join in this draft. So come one, come all. Well, before the others come in, we had last week, there was the show was with the Department of Self-Defense under the able leadership of SOS Frank Cheney, who made a very powerful presentation there. We always start by a recap of the last show, so maybe I should just talk about it now before the others come in, before we continue. So we've presented many topics about codes of conduct for members of the interim government and of the local government and county government, and talked about departments also. Last week it was a Department of Self-Defense. So there were very important points there which were brought out by SOS Frank Cheney. He called upon our able Amazonian Restoration Forces. By the way, 21 gun salute to you all, our brave Amazonian Restoration Forces on a cafe day up. You people are the ones keeping this struggle alive, paying the draft with your blood every day. So we are here to do our own part, our own little part, and make our plight known to the world and draft to help support you people. So SOS Frank Cheney talked about how our ARS should be loyal to the people's interim government, the one legitimate people's interim government led by President Sako. This is very, very important so as to prevent infighting. So because it's not good being loyal to 2 or 3 different leadership structures that invariably leads to infighting. And by the way, any serious Amazonian in leadership position would do everything to see to it that the leadership is united and one and pulling towards a common goal. So very important advice there from SOS Frank. And then our ARS should have a high moral standard. A high moral standard is expected of them because they should be exemplary in what they do. We know they are still being constituted. We know they are not like irregular army, but they are becoming one. They should not be harassing the local population, which serve as their support and their shield. So the local population should always be their friend. They are being schooled on respecting the Geneva Convention, especially when treating prisoners of war, and how they conduct themselves on the battlefield. And then, of course, there was the promise, and we'll take good care. We are taking good care. We'll take good care of our ARFs, their families, especially those fallen heroes, those left behind. I know the HSS is doing a wonderful job. The Department of Women Affairs is also doing a terrific job in that direction. So we are very, very thankful to them. And it was also talked about that we know La Republique is not just coming in to kill our people, to kill, to steal, and to destroy, as the devil does. They have helpers. Even amongst Christians, among the followers of Christ, there was a helper who was Judas Iscariot, a traitor. So there are traitors amongst us. Those are the enablers. They go around pointing the homes of our restoration fighters and enabling our people to be hunted down and put either in dungeons, they call prisons in La Republique, or being killed. And he promised enablers will not have it easy because they are directly or indirectly responsible for the deaths of many of our people. So those are the things that I can remember, the recap of what happened last time in the last show. So once again, many thanks to SOS Frank Cheney of the Defense Department, Self-Defense Department, who is doing a wonderful job there. I mean, he's the former county chair of Ngogotunja, my county. I know him in that respect, and he's continuing with that wonderful job at the national level as the Secretary of State for Self-Defense. So today we are to talk about the department ethics in an emerging Department of Foreign Affairs of Amazonia. We all know that's a department that's very, very vital to this our struggle, and has done much, starting from the time of former President Sisiko, with some recognitions, like in the city of Lowell in the USA, where the Federal Republic of Amazonia has been recognized as a sovereign state, as an independent state. And fast forward, other major diplomatic gains, like the district of Barueri, I think, in Brazil, recognizing us as a sovereign state, and our president, His Excellency President Samuel Sako Ikome, was flown into Brazil at the behest of the Brazilian government of that structure. That part of Brazil, that district, and nobody can fly into the country without the federal government approving the visa, well knowing that is the president of the Federal Republic of Amazonia. I can tell you that that caused a stir in La Republique, those killers of ours. So they called the Brazilian government and was saying, yeah, this should be recounted and all that, all such nonsense. But that happened, and we are very happy with that. And President Sako was there to present the Federal Republic of Amazonia, which is recognized in Brazil as a sovereign state. So we welcome back our panelists, our host, Pastor Komando, and our powerful SOS for Department of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Kizito Elat. Welcome to the show. Over to
Thank you
you.
very much, Dr. Tom, for sitting in there and bringing to the people of Amazonia what they should hear and what they should know. We are out here to educate our people and to let them know that we are not sleeping. While they are paying the price down there, we are doing everything possible to make sure that we also pay the price that we can pay to join them together so we can make it work. Thank you for the summary of the meeting that took place last week with the defense. And remember, we are on ethics. And today we are going to go into the Department of Foreign Affairs that has been doing a wonderful job. And the Amazonians want that every step they take, they should report, which is very, very unconventional and cannot be done in that way. I love Dr. Ellard. He is a man of very few words, very stern, strict, and respecting the norms of his office. Diplomacy is not announcement and it's not done in the public. It's done behind closed doors. And the results is what people see out there.
Silent.
I applaud Dr. Ellard for that statement and for keeping up with us in this government. Before we go ahead, I just want to briefly once again ask Dr. Ellard to welcome the people of Amazonia that are willing and they are ready to hear him tell us about the plans he has for the ethics on a developing foreign affairs in the nation that is emerging, the Federal Republic of Amazonia. We would like to hear a word from you, sir, before just a word of greetings before we dive into the subject matter itself. Man of very few words, but very important words. Over to you, sir.
It's my pleasure, Pastor Komando and Deputy Director Ndula, fellow viewers, and our home front, the ARF, and those of us who have run out of our homeland, finding ourselves in our even neighboring La Republique and in Nigeria, Gabon, Ghana, Congo. I want to greet all of you, and I want to thank the ethics department for really up this program, which is very important in order for the Amazonians to know that we don't just go to work, but we go to work with some guidelines. We go to work with some rules that we follow, and there are some ethics that we use in doing our job. So we don't decide on ourselves, and it's something of an international level, which is being respected and followed by all states and international communities. So I want to thank you guys for bringing me up today to talk on ethics in foreign affairs or ethics in international relations.
Thank you very much for that brief introduction and the greetings to the people of Amazonia. Ladies and gentlemen, remember you are in for a treat with the Foreign Affairs Department in the interim government of the Federal Republic of Amazonia. And the Secretary of State is right here with us. But before we catch it on, I just want to remind you of our monologue that we have taken upon ourselves to remind you very often so that you can know exactly where we stand. We are saying that the liberation of Amazonia, this movement is very unique. And how is it unique? It is unique because this is one of the revolutions in the world that has instituted ethics commission during a time of war. It's never been known, and so we are creating this current event that is becoming history. Possibly we don't want that there should be war in any other country, but we are saying that this Ambazonian liberation movement is unique compared to others because of its ethics institution during this time of war. Our fathers had the foresight of the uphill battle we face to repair the destroyed moral fabric of Amazonia. How was it destroyed? What holds a nation together is its moral values. Now, when La Republic invaded and occupied Amazonia, we took away the moral standards that Amazonians were living for. And that has made it possible, a little bit hard for us to sit back and re-moralize Amazonia again. And it is a battle that we must fight to win. The assault on our morality began when La Republic took out civics from our school curriculum. The importance of ethics in a nation cannot be emphasized enough. This is the right time for ethics awareness campaigns in our tiers of government and communities in the Federal Republic of Amazonia. It was Edmund Burke who said that liberty does not exist in the absence of morality. Ethics for an emerging nation is an educational program to help you with the information and tools you need to moralize your communities and movements. We have discussed a number of topics like ethics or temperate forms for complaints, conflicts resolutions, appeals, and financial conflict of interest disclosure forms. We have discussed that. We have discussed ethical leadership and its importance, guidelines for receiving and giving gifts by government employees. We have discussed misuse of position in government, the role of the people in upholding ethical standards in the nation, the role of the church in moralizing the society, standard of conduct for Ambazonians. We have discussed all this. We've also gone ahead to touch on business ethics, media ethics, sports and cultural ethics, medical public health ethics. We have discussed all this. Ambazonians are encouraged to watch all these programs again on ABC Facebook page and on YouTube, and use this information to moralize your community. We will have a better government when all our communities and government tiers are actually informed and they know exactly what is going on. We are done with ethics awareness in counties and some other departments, like the Women's Service Department, like the Home DHA Department, the DSS Department, And today, we are entering into the Foreign Affairs Department. Other departments will be following suit as we go on to deal with these aspects. And today, our guest in the house is Dr. Ellard. And before we cross over to him, we want Dr. Tom to just throw some more light again on the purpose of this ethics that we are talking about in different aspects and institutions of the government. Over to you, Doctor. Your microphone is closed, Doctor.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you, Pastor Komando. Welcome on board, Secretary of State Dr. Elat of Foreign Affairs. Welcome to this show, a show where we talk about ethics. The importance of ethics cannot be underestimated, can never be talked about enough, especially in this day and age of coup plotters, enablers, putting themselves forth as fake Amazonian leaders, people who have violated many ethical rules of Amazonia to be where they are today and to be doing what they are doing today. So the ethics commission, as there was created right at the beginning of the constitution. It's inscribed in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Amazonia as one of the major departments that was first created. You hear more about the Ethics Commission than the Judiciary Commission because we are not yet in Boya. We don't have courts, we don't have prisons, and police force to enforce all those rules and all that. So all we can do now, first of all, is to call out people, help mediate cases, and call out some and shame some and remind them of ethical conduct. So we do that in conjunction with the Judiciary Commission. Just a little quick rundown of what the Ethics Commission is all about and what the Ethics Commission is doing. We expect that every department, every county where an Ethics Commission is, that they should follow those same guidelines. Just some quick rundown. The Ethics Commission, in consultation with the Judiciary Commission, shall conduct general enforcement of the current Code of Ethics to promote the culture of ethics in government and private sector. The responsibilities include the following: that we uphold standards of behavior contained in the Code of Ethics in all departments. The Ethics Commission shall communicate ethical expectations to elected officials and employees through the rigorous and fair enforcement of this ethical code and expects everyone to abide by it. Ethics Commission must offer ethics training through seminars, workshops, and other ethical training programs. Ethics Commission shall accept written complaints for alleged ethical code violations by elected officials and employees, as well as unresolved disputes from any department. Ethics Commission may dismiss and deem confidential, frivolous complaints without a public disclosure or hold hearings and render findings or facts of each non-frivolous complaint and recommend penalties. The Ethics Commission may submit advisory opinions to government departments and have not complied with the terms of this statute or any other government statute ascribed to the department. The elected officials and employees are encouraged to report on ethical matters to the Ethics Commission for investigation without fear or reprimand. So the Ethics Commission, after investigation, will recommend disciplinary actions that may include verbal warning, suspension, demotion, dismissal, or termination, criminal proceedings to include fines and or imprisonment, or disciplinary actions related to war crimes committed by Ambazonians. will be conducted in compliance with the Geneva Convention statutes. So those are the main things that ethics is required of an ethics commission, which modified in every department should approximately be the same. So every department can modify it to suit their case then. So that's the presentation of that. Over to you, Pastor.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tom. Right now, without any waste of time, we will go over to the SOS of Foreign Affairs and find out from him how he intends to implement these ethical values in his department. I know that in his introduction, he mentioned some very vital points, which I think that in his now talk, he will tell us exactly how he plans to make sure that his department adheres to every ethical aspect that is required for a department like his. And so, Doctor, this is your time. Over to you. The microphone is yours. Just go ahead and tell us. Thank you very much.
Again, thank you, Pastor Komando and Dr. Ndula. I hope you can hear me well.
Doc.
Can
Five
you
on
guys
five,
hear
five
me?
on five, 5 on 5, 5 on 5. You are okay.
Okay. Well, as I was saying, it's a pleasure being here again, talking on a very important issue, ethics. And I want to thank you for this invitation to address ethics in diplomacy or ethics in international relations. I would like to begin with just a few observations, in particular to focus on too frequent assumption that moral principle are just a type of software, a computer or thinking which has no place in the real world. But so moral philosophy and ethics have provoked a lot of discussion, unlike few other subjects. I don't usually like to use, I don't know, can you guys see me? Oh, uh,
Just go
am
ahead.
I
If
on
there is
camera?
anything wrong, we will
Yes,
let
we
you
see
know.
you.
Just let your camera.
Okay.
Your head is being cut off. Just yeah, okay. Just lift up your camera a little bit so that your head can be
Is it
Good.
okay
down a
now?
bit.
Okay, let's just
No, a
go
bit.
ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, good.
So, as I was saying, today in the real world, in fact, ethics and moral, which we use interchangeable, has been so sustainable in human rights, and it has had little impact on politics. As we have said politics surpass law, because as Ambazonians, if we were following but the law, then we will not be where we are today. We will be already in Boya. But as politics is greater than law, we still find ourselves dangling around unethically, I would say, because a lot of things are quite obvious, and a lot of when we talk on ethics in the foreign policy, or international relation, you hear a lot of philosophers named Socrates, Mongatao, and someone like me in the field of diplomacy feels not so pull up because you won't get all those great thinkers from Africa, the continent of Africa, which is already what we are talking today and seeing it to be unethical. Now, coming back to um, ethics, since we have had a lot of books read and we talk only on Western nations, let's just use that as in our process of discussion for now and make Amazonians know that this emerging nation that we are calling Amazonia is not only fighting for freedom, but is fighting to bring a lot of morality in the world and teach the world how some type of foreign relations and foreign affairs are going to be played. Now, certain things have happened. We are following up a lot of diplomatic missions, and as you in your monologue rightly said, it is difficult to come out and start singing. And we see a lot of things happening today in Ukraine. We see a lot of things happening in Syria. We see in China, Taiwan, and we see the reaction. And it pulls me back to what I saw, I think is 2 days ago. The head of the World Health Organization, who was on BBC and aggressively, when I say aggressively, I know I'm talking to the ethics committee here. It doesn't mean he was brutal, but I mean he said it with all force and confidence, comparing the suffering of the Tigranian people with uh, that of Ukraine. And when I was told by the director of ethics that I would be online today, that point captured me very much by saying that he said the Tigranians are frustrated and suffering more than the Ukrainians. But nobody talks about them, nobody care about them. The concern that is being given to Ukraine is not even 1/100 of what is being given to the Tigranians. And he ended that by saying he finds that unethical. So we can see how ethics play in international relations. This problem of ethics generated after the First World War. I think a lot of us know about the history of the First World War and the brutal killings of millions of people. But still, it continues with the Second World War. It went on with Rwanda genocide, Srebrenica in former Czechoslovakia and Yugoslavia, is going on in Amazonia for long, and we are hearing nothing about. I don't know how long, or if anyone have mistakenly seen any mainstream media coming up with the story of Amazonia. I saw once Al Jazeera, I saw once CNN, I saw once BBC, but their report was very, very, let me use the word unethical, because it was biased. It was not reported as what is happening on the ground. And they were only saying their own impression, what they feel about the struggle, and not what is really on the ground going on. So a lot of these issues, because we have seen how some great nations like the USA and multilateral communities or unions like the European Union, and trying to bring some morals by educating and trying to tell some of us, the Amazonians, how we are, well, they didn't use the word we are unethical, but we are not following the rule of laws and the rule of war. But knowing fully well what the interim government is doing, and knowing fully well the way we are following up the diplomatic missions and our diplomacy in foreign affairs, I can with all certainty say that we are more, our morals, our ethics is higher than what they say, in the sense that we know exactly that we are supposed to have our nation, but still we are still trying to negotiate with our interlocutors to get back the nation that we have. And notwithstanding, we have not crossed the boundaries to their side to attack them. They have crossed the boundary to attack us. And we are practicing what is known as self-defense or self-determination. We don't hear them being blamed for their brutes and immorality that all of us know, the raping of our women, the killing of our children, the molesting of our school children, the chasing away and burning of our villages and houses, and rendering our people homeless, familyless, and you can name it. So this is just a few examples of our ethics that we in the foreign affairs are playing, going towards them, trying to negotiate with them on something that we know belongs to us. So you can see our high standard of ethics in the foreign relations that we follow, and the morals that the government, the interim government, which I never use the word led by President Sako, because there's one interim government and there's one president. So if I say led by President Sako, it means there's another one led by someone else, which
That's
all
true.
of us know
Yes.
there's. Yeah, so when the interim government have put the morals and the ethics committee, what Dr. Ndula, the deputy, just read, shows how we plan to reach Boya and be a nation of peace, unity, and harmony. So I will end there for now, and I will receive questions. If there is more, let me not make it a monologue so we can have some conversation.
Yeah, thank you very much, Doctor. I think with this education, the Amazonian people are actually coming up to make a very big difference between our nation and La Republic. Even though the nation is our nation, we are not using brutal methods to go against the ethical values that are generally put out there by the society. I mean, the international community and the world as a large, as a whole. So, Dr. Tom, I don't know if you have anything to ask, to add to ask Dr. SOS for Foreign Affairs before I come in.
Yes, just something short. Thank you very much, as well as Dr. Ella, for that presentation. Um, there are, some doubting Thomases out there saying, oh, what is the Department of Foreign Affairs doing? What is the interim government up to? What are the achievements, successes? There are many things that have happened, and some, of course, still in the pipeline. If some any major happenings, things that have happened, we know. I mean, the U.S. Has written many resolutions calling on the government, on the evil Republic government to do this and that, and even the House of Lords, I think, in the UK, has written something which is not like that powerful, because the House of the Parliament is there where the decisions are to be made. I mean, just to like any recent breakthrough uh, or things that are in the pipeline. Of course, just the things you can talk about to keep the Amazonian people abreast of what is happening. And for example, the Swiss-led negotiation talks that the Republic is still dragging its feet to come to the table, where we Amazonians are already quite ready for that. So, to just say something short on that, I mean, what is happening. Thank you.
Yes, the president and myself are digging really deep into issues in this turbulent moment. As all of you know, as I've just quoted I think the chairperson, or I don't know how the chairperson of the World Health Organization saying about the Tigranians is something now we're witnessing, a type of one-sided observation on human right abuse and attacks on sovereign states, and even, as they call us, non-state actors. But notwithstanding, we still have our feet strong on the ground, making sure we knock all the doors that we can and try to, because number one, you made a statement that they are doubting Thomas, and I will give an example with example of Russia and Ukraine. You know, you are in Europe, and you can see how the Western world, let me call them like that, the Western world has used some type of force to influence everybody to stand against Russia. I mean, they don't give any chance. I mean, right in schools, we are we are complaining that the Amazonia history has been distorted or even absconded totally from talking about it in schools. But just immediately as the Russian-Ukraine war started, I bet even my children here home can tell you some history of Ukraine, how Ukraine was independent somehow. In fact, they have tried to, I don't know how to use which word I'm going to use as the wine the history so fast so that everybody, is like a type of music playing. In those days when we had a record player playing and it's cracked, and when the pin reaches that area that is scratched, it sings the same thing over and over and over and over. So you just put your TV on today, you get the only see the one side report of Russia against Russia, and that is what we know as brainwashing, making us to believe Russia as an evil and Ukraine, hallelujah. And as is the same with Israel, you cannot even open your mouth and say a word against Israel. Oh, whatever. As the Palestinian president was here and accused Israel of committing Holocaust in Palestine. After he left, I hear the police are trying to carry out investigation on him, criminal act for talking about Israel. So you see all those things happening in the world today. The thing is, those doubting Thomas are those people who have absolutely no knowledge on diplomacy. And that is the problem that is really the main issue today is the war in Ukraine is because there were some amateurs, some type of people who were trying to negotiate on the Ukrainian issue with Russia by not using the real diplomats, people who have the knowledge, the history of both countries, know exactly, speak their language, know their culture, know what the people know, and if they go on the negotiation table, what is going to be the real issue, and if they what they think they are going to get, if they don't get, what is going to happen. So there's a lot of things on diplomacy that people think they know, and we live today in a type of world of disinformation, misinformation. It's not like before in the 80s or up to the 90s, whereby information was controlled. Either you're afraid to speak, everybody is spying on each and every one. You say something just to defend yourself by lying about your neighbor. You have to be looking what you don't know. You might be wrong, or maybe you might not be right. If you get what I said, you might be wrong, or maybe you might not be right, which means you're always wrong. So those people, some of us in Amazonia think we know diplomacy a lot. We think going to talk to someone like a senator or meeting a minister and talking, you've already done diplomacy. You stand there and take pictures. So that's the doubting Thomas. When it comes to negotiating with La République du Cameroon, each anybody, any Amazonians that is knowledgeable and have this moral, ethical morality in him or her knows immediately that La République is afraid to come to the table. They are contacting us behind the scene, but as the president has always said and keeps saying, before I forget, tomorrow is the draft of Goketunja, so he will still repeat that day again. But let me use this opportunity to tell the Amazonia people who have forgotten that tomorrow 8 o'clock we'll be gathering there. So coming back to diplomacy, he has told them that calling each and every individual behind the scene does not bring anything on the table. Let's sit down and talk. Whatever issue we can discuss, or let's sit on the table and discuss it. That is what we are talking now. So unethical on the part of La République du Cameroon, calling those behind, and the weak ones. It is not a bad thing to call people behind and talk. So Amazonians should not get me wrong, because diplomacy starts like that and goes forward like that. You cannot just gather a whole nation and select people who are going to sit on the table and negotiate. No, you need to go through and try to talk to some certain people. But we have realized that we have some people who are too much
Waiting.
one-sided
Okay, I just need to talk.
we are one-sided in their thinking of what we are in for, and they are easily influenced. You can see those, a lot of them that have been bought over in the sense of talking to La République du Cameroon. Because if I imagine when they used to call me, and in fact, the sweet talk that they used to talk, my brother, and all those things, we are one, and this and that, until I have to tell them that no, we are not one, before the discussion will change. So those doubting Thomas can keep doubting until the day will surprise them to see that La Republic is sitting on the table. We will not relent in doing what we are doing, because we are we have a goal that we are fighting for, and we have to achieve this goal. And without achieving this goal, our fight goes to nothing. Let me give you an example of ethics, how ethical matters are being carried out in diplomacy. When the Ugandans were fighting to penalize gay and lesbian, when Obama was president in the USA, you know, he was bent to see that that law never works. I mean, in an international level, in the highest level at the presidency, he pushed and brought all type of sanction and all type of threats and everything to the people of Uganda. But that law went ahead until one experienced diplomat who thought it wise and came up with an idea that they should cut off from all these international communities and media and all those people who are fighting and talking and announcing. The more they announce that on media, the more they talk it, the more they shout about it, the more the people of Uganda sees that the West is trying to implement their immoral culture in Uganda. So it becomes something, the Western culture being implemented in Uganda. So they wanted to show the West that no, we will not take your God. So this guy, with some respect, which is ethics, went in and to talk to some experienced diplomat and negotiators and said, why don't we talk with either with the legislators or the executive, and forget about the presidency and forget about the international medias and community and all those things. And they went like that, and they tried with the executive. It will not work. And now they went behind, which some of us will call it corruption. Now they went behind and discussed with some key legislators and talked to them the moral and ethical
Values.
doing back home there in Uganda, that they are all also humans like each and every one. It can be immoral to some of them, but the people who are doing it, they should consider their own human right. And so they try to plead and discuss and have conversation with those people behind the scene. And as you all know, though they had a lot of people at the legislature who, since that thing was being to be voted in the parliament, the law never passed. And what happened? They got what they want. So you can see that it was not done through media, it was not done through international communities and all that. It was done with individuals behind the scene, and that is what we call ethical diplomacy.
Wow. Thank you very much, Dr. Elad. We are
Thank you.
building an Ambazonia that will be founded on these ethical, or call them moral values. And we see that even at this juncture, we are beginning to walk towards that. We are not going to wait until we get to Boya before we create schools and classrooms to teach people. But we discovered that in different departments, they are already implementing these kind of ethical talks. But I just want to find out from you, do you have an ethics commission in your department? And if you do you have a copy of the Ambazonian ethical or ethics code in
Okay.
your department?
Well, let me answer the second one. Each and every Secretary of State directors and have this code of conduct for ethics.
Okay. Okay.
The director and the deputy and the Department of Ethics share it. All of us have it.
Okay. Okay.
Coming to the
Do
point
you
of
do you have a
ethical
copy?
department, the ethical department in foreign affairs, myself and my deputy, we have some elders. We can call it elders who look into some issues or Akedo, not my patients. I mean the husband, and we even have people like Professor Aim, who are in there, who can see things and talk and try to advise. We decided not to have called ethical committee of foreign affairs, with the sense that we have already the ethical committee in the government,
Okay.
and which, as Dr. Ndula rightly read it out, that serves the purpose of conduct, which each and every government officials is under
Department. Mhm.
these rules. And if there's anything, you have to refer there. If we start building another part of ethical committee in the various departments, maybe it can work to
And do you
facilitate the
have
job of the bigger house. But I doubt if something is judged in the foreign department differently and we bring it to the higher house and is bringing another solution, it might be a clash of interests. So, with that sense,
uh-huh.
we want to maintain the ethics committee and we want to make sure we follow the rules and regulation by bringing up our complaints to the ethics committee for them to look and if they have want to make any oversight, they can themselves do
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Your department, does it have a quote of, a copy of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia's Constitution?
Yeah, we have it.
Okay, all right. So I don't know if you have any other thing to tell us. I think we want to thank you very much for coming in here to talk to us about how you plan to and how you are carrying out ethics in your department. And I think that the Ambazonian people are learning a lot and seeing that in every department you actually are carrying out the ethics as it is required by the government, as you have rightly said. We want to thank you very much for sparing us your time and coming in here to tell Amazonians about your department. I don't know if you have any other thing to say. If not, we hand over to Dr. Ndula
Well,
to
what
get us to a close.
very what short I would say is that uh, we are building up the foreign affairs every day because we need people who are viable, who are reachable, who are knowledgeable in foreign missions, and not just people who talk. And just to let Amazonians know that in every leadership or any like the struggle we're having, there are two types of people. I use the word finite and infinite. So all those people who are creating confusion in order to see that our move to Boya is being hindered. Those are those type of finite Amazonians. What do I mean about this? You know, for example, if you want to play a match and you're a finite team, you go in there with the aim of winning. You want to win, yeah, which is very good. Everybody want to win. But if you are the infinite team, you want to play and win. And if the winning doesn't come, if you lose, you will still play again and keep playing till you win. And those infinite ones who are so focused, who thought that this independence is going to come in 1 year or 1 month or 2 months, are the ones that are calling themselves, oh, there's too much confusion, this are it, we are giving up, we don't want this, we don't want to hear that. But those infinite ones are those who are still standing. That is you, me, and the rest of those who are standing. I want to praise them and I want to tell our ARF in ground zero that we are infinite. We will fight, we will do the diplomacy, we will bring all the rules and ethics in this revolution until we are there in Boya. So they should not worry and not listen. People, this thing, this is an empty glass I'm having in my hand, right? If I just want to make a quick experiment to the people of Ambazonia, if I make this glass like this, you can hear the sound, right? And if I put
The
water full
noise
in
is loud. The noise is
if I
loud.
put water full here, and I use the same thing to do it, you don't hear anything anymore, right?
No. Yeah, very
So
low.
this is
Sound has been absorbed.
we are here in Boya. Those people who make a lot of noise were those people when the glass was empty. So if you want to be a
Thank you
full
very
glass,
much.
come tomorrow, come to the draft next week of Kupe Maninguba, come to the draft, the infinite drafting until the Department of Foreign Affairs and draft and get fully. Thank
Thank
Yes,
you
thank you very
very
much,
much. Thank you
Manila.
very much.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you very much.
Excellency Manila. Yes, and one thing I would want to add on that is, the thing is, being ethical means not thinking first about yourself, thinking of others. the, 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 the ultimate case is, the best example is our ARFs. When they wake up every morning, they are there in hiding. They do their job, they do their self-defense, protect the community. They are far away from their wives, from their family, not knowing what would happen to them the next day. That is being selfless. There are people in
Mosquito,
Kondengi.
mosquito.
Yes.
I was asked by one full heart woman, why don't I sometimes stay in Poland, but always commute from there back to Berlin and driving back there? And I told her that I was there for 2 days. I'm not in a hotel or whatever. I'm in the bushes, according to Atanganji Paul. And only the mosquitoes that beat me there for 2 days, I ran. Then you can imagine what the ARF are doing down there. And we sit here and run our mouth. So, as you rightly said, being ethical is not only for yourself, you have consent in
Yes.
others. And have consent for ARF back home. Thank you.
That is it. That is it. And what I was driving at, there are also very selfless people. There are people in Kondengi prison. Take for example, Pata Sang, who is there, who being there is very active, more than most of us out here who are in freedom and have the freedom to act, to say our mind as it is, and not being harassed, and doing a very wonderful job. And as from day one, has refused any bribery and corruption from the evil La Republic regime up till today, and even bribery from within enablers that are trying to spoil this revolution. So when we see all those things, and then you see people trying to say, "Oh, this diplomatic gain, it was done by me or by my group or whatever," then I say that is nonsense. When you are doing anything, you are doing it for Ambazonia. If you are no more having the position you are having, what is there will be left for posterity for 8 million Ambazonians. Nobody will say, "I want to take this and go along with it," or carry some equipment from belonging to ABC, Amba TV, belonging to the Amazonian people, and go and form your own TV and say, "Oh, this, that was mine." That is nonsense. It belongs to the people, and those are things not to be tampered with. Those are unethical issues that need to be called out, and such people need to be called out and then say, "No, it is not to be replicated anywhere in Amazonia." So thank you for your steadfastness all these years and staying the course with the people's interim government. And we know President Sako is there for now. He's the head of the government. When he will bow out or voted out or whatever, he will leave. And as he said in his own words, if I ever leave this interim government, I will there's one thing I will never ever do: form any parallel structure out there, because only forming a parallel structure, no matter what reasons you have, you are already doing what La Republique is doing to us, fractioning us so as to be able to destroy us better. So thank you all, and please come to Amba.
Yeah, thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming tonight on our ethics, and want to appreciate all of you for coming in there to talk to our people again. And we are looking forward to having you come on ABC for some other programs. But for today, God bless all of you, and please join the APP that is rolling on right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it is at this juncture that we'll come to the end of this program, Ethics for a Developing Nation, in the Department of Foreign Affairs, with the SOS, Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs, Dr. Ellard, telling us what we have heard. Don't forget, tomorrow is in Kutunja, and we please that all of you should get in there so that we can fight with the ARFs that are back at home. Once again, thank you, and see you next time. Bye.
I stand strong by his word, believes in me. Say with me, say, I am stronger, I am wiser by his Say, seasons come and seasons go. Whatever it is, I got victory. Is that true? I'm a champion. I'm a winner. My spirit that lives in me. Woo! For with me, all things are possible. By His Spirit and by His word. Come on, let's sing together. Come on, say. To greater heights. By His Spirit. Somebody march with me. Come on. To greater heights. Wave those hands to Jesus. Somebody shout. Woo! Hey, oh yeah. By His word. Come on, wave those hands to Jesus like this. Everybody, wave those hands to Jesus. Hey, everybody, say yeah. Say yeah. Say yeah. Yeah. Come on, put the hands up. Come on, say, put the hands up. Everybody, put your hands up. I love this part. It goes like this. I'm not moved by what I feel. No, 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 no. You know why? Ha. All things are possible with God. Say in me. You better say it like you're gonna say in me. Now all around this building, with one voice, let's sing the song together. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, go! To greater heights, by His Spirit. Watch me do it like this.